Well, greetings, Four Color fans, and welcome here to Metarog's channel. And today I am going to be doing a sort of retrospective on Manwolf. I'm going to be going through his appearances. I'll give you, some story elements, etc., my thoughts, etc., about the character and his appearances through the Bronze Age. There was, I guess, one Copper Age appearance that I'm going to show as well. But before I do that, I'd like to dedicate this video to Sam's Tangled Web and his memory. It's been a week now since I've heard of his passing, and still have a sadness about me. And to me, that just goes to show you the impact and the character of Sam. His love for comics, just the pure love of comics that he had, and this community was really inspiring to me, honestly. He had no pretenses. He just especially Marvel comics and Spider-Man comics, right? He really was super knowledgeable about them, and you can tell when he talked about them, the passion in his voice and the gleam in his eye. That smile that he had with the missing tooth and so forth. I have nothing but fond memories and of him, and I can imagine the pain and hurt of those that actually knew him better and personally. But he will be missed, and we are definitely a poor community without Sam being here. But thank you for Sam for the time we had you. Those times are precious, and I always give thanks for the things that I have, and not lament the ones that I don't. So I give thanks for the time that we had you. I so much wish that we had you for a lot longer, but the time that we did have was precious and was special. So thank you, Sam. So let's get on now. Another reason why I chose, I was going to do this Manwolf special, because I found the last one I needed. But Manwolf and Spider-Man are pretty much sort of symbiotic, because they're, although Manwolf did have a lot of solo adventures, it sort of began and ended with Spider-Man. And of course, Manwolf was the alter ego of John Jameson, the son of J. Jonah Jameson, perhaps Spider-Man's greatest nemesis that he couldn't physically defeat, right? But it's not his first appearance here in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 124. He did appear. I mean, John Jameson actually appeared, I think, in ASM 1, and he was also he was affected by some. He was an astronaut. He was affected by some spores, and he gained super strength, etc., and fought Spider-Man. I want to say in the 40s or 50s, somewhere around there. He had appeared here and there, right? But he was an astronaut, as I stated, and he went to the moon, where he found this stone, a gemstone, and he finagled it through quarantine, and he made a pendant out of it. And then at the full moon, I think it was the full moon or just the rising of the moon, every night he became the Manwolf, right? And Manwolf was he did not retain any kind of John Jameson's thoughts or memories, and he was just very animalistic, savage, very strong, much stronger than I think they said over 10 men, but really it was even more than that. He took a section of wall and just threw it. So I mean, you'd figure closer to 50 men, if anything like that. But in this one here, the pendant actually grafted to his throat, and so he couldn't remove it. But Spider-Man used his spider strength and just pulled it off. Piece of skin, I think, went with it in the whole bit, or fur, I guess, and threw it into the river. And that was it for that story arc. But Morbius here in Giant Size Superhero, that was in 1973, by the way, ASM 124 and 25. Morbius apparently found it and again made it into a pendant and put it on Jameson again. He did actually turn into a wolf before that, so I'm assuming if he was in like the vicinity of the Moonstone. But here he again put it on Jameson and he became full-fledged man-wolf. And Morbius had some scheme to try to cure himself from his malady that turned him into a pseudo-vampire. Then after that, here, Man-Wolf got his own series in Creatures on the Loose. And essentially he was, I would not say an anti-hero here. He was just a force of nature, essentially. Because again, Jameson didn't have control over his faculties as Man-Wolf, and he was pursued by the special agent task force named Simon Stroud, who was a normal guy but very athletic. He had some knowledge of how to handle him, etc., etc. And he appeared in the first 4 or 5 issues here. Here in 32, Kraven the Hunter sought him out as, again, prey. He wanted. Kraven likes to hunt, the most dangerous animals out there, and I guess he figured Man-Wolf was part of that. And here, really striking cover here, where J. Jonah Jameson is put in the position where he, might have to kill his son to protect. I believe that's his fiance, Christine Saunders. So I think this is where George Perez starts the art in this series, and great job there by Mr. Perez. Eventually, he escapes Simon Stroud. I think he is captured there somehow. I forgot if he just turns it human. And escapes, and he runs afoul of an organization that is scheming, and I believe headed by the Hate Monger, which I think eventually was supposedly reincarnated Hitler. But again, I'm not exactly sure about that part of it. And part of their scheme as a spaceship, and he actually does manage to escape all those baddies, and he is found once again by the military, and when he is just normal Jameson, and he's given an assignment or an option to take an assignment. There's a space station that they can't communicate with, so they send him up, knowing he's the Man-Wolf. I don't know, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And of course, he turns into the Man-Wolf while he's up there, and apparently the space station is some kind of taken over, and here we start to learn that there's actually these aliens that are after him. We're not sure exactly why, but we will find out when this series continues in Marvel Premiere. Again, this is the last issue of Creatures on the Loose, and on the last page is or in the notes here section, it gives you what's going to happen, what they had planned. But it didn't occur in Creatures on the Loose. You had to wait several years until Marvel Premiere. But we'll get to that in a minute. And this is where it gets real confusing, though. He next appears in Marvel Team Up 36. Somehow he has been retrieved by the Monster Maker, some villain there who wants to actually make an amalgamation of Frankenstein, Spider-Man, and Man-Wolf. What's weird is that the way they talking about it in the end here on this issue, they say, well, he was actually teleported from the moon, from at the end of Creatures on the Loose 37. However, I guess they didn't realize that later on the story would continue. So that's a really big continuity issue there. But regardless, he fought against Spider-Man here. This man-wolf was a little more like timid. There was a lady there that he rescued, and he even brought her food, and he wasn't just totally savage there. Again, right before the Marvel premiere, we have this issue here, the 2-issue arc in Amazing Spider-Man, where he appears being controlled by Spencer Smythe, who did the Spider Slayers, and he wants revenge on Jameson, and so he he put John Jameson into some contraption, which again turned him into the Man Wolf and made him go after his own father. And of course, fought Spider-Man to avoid Jameson getting killed. And then at the end, he's thrown off a bridge, and then poof, he disappears before he hits the water. And again, we're not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what occurred after that. I'll tell you what I think, right? And then here, again, this picks up from Creatures on the Loose. So all that there that after Creatures on the Loose supposedly happened after this series, right? But here, Man-Wolf was actually was actually not just supposed to be, a savage wolf. What happened is that since he was on Earth, he didn't get the full powers of that gemstone. But once he actually teleports into this other realm, because the portal is on the moon, with these gentlemen who retrieved him from that realm, he becomes the Star God, where obviously he retains his intelligence, he's stronger, he has like some kind of telepathy and healing powers, and he can even teleport, or at least he found out that he could. And essentially the Star God is the powers contained in this gem, so that when needed, he's sort of a champion and leader, all this kind of stuff, so that the realm, when it's in peril, they could have somebody to essentially vanquish the foe, which is this guy here, who's another kind of god, supposedly. And he's taken over the realm, and he's a nasty bad guy, sinister, sanguine, all that. Actually, he was like a professor on Earth, and he captures Christine, so that because he figured that the other realm guys had retrieved John Jameson and made him, and once he teleported there, he became the Star God. But of course, he was vanquished. I forgot what his name is. And that sort of is the end there of that story arc. And here we have, again, really confusing, but apparently sometime after that story arc and Marvel premiere, he was zapped into some kind of micro realm, like when Ant-Man shrinks down. And he was trapped there. They said that it was by somebody trying to kill him. I've never seen that in the comics, so I don't know if they're confusing that with with the Amazing Spider-Man 90, where he plunged down and disappeared. I don't know if that is the one that really should be the continuity with this one. But again, it's very confusing, so forgive me if I'm not clear at all. But essentially here, this is a really weird tale. The guys from the other realm, who are his confidants, are trying to retrieve him, and apparently the other realm is in danger, and it's something about She-Hulk's blood that contains the nether realm, and again, it's shrunk down, and he's stuck in that micro world. So eventually they get him out of there with the help of Hellcat and her shadow cloak, and he returns to that other realm. But he learns that he has a teleportation power, so he teleports back to Earth. And that's the last we see of him until here in 1981, I want to say. Peter Parker, yes, 1981, which is a little bit after this one. She-Hulk is 1980. And here Jameson is back on Earth, but he's turning into the Man Wolf. He just can't find a way of controlling Man Wolf, so he's despondent. He's even considering suicide. He's hiding out. His dad thinks he's dead from that Amazing Spider-Man issue, but he finds out that he is alive, and so does Spider-Man Peter Parker. And with the help of Kurt Connors and a device that he created, he actually cures him. He actually destroys the gemstone and leeches all of the tendrils that have grown into his body from the gemstone out of John Jameson, and no longer is he able to become the Man Wolf because the gemstone is destroyed. Again, here, this is sort of like the end, but they're 1981, but about 10 years later here, he does appear again as the Man Wolf. He had been Captain America's pilot for a while, but here Dreadman Druid is sort of doing this spell or something that attracts all the werewolves, including Wolverine and all the other kind of werewolfy people in the Marvel Universe, and turns John Jameson back into the Man Wolf briefly here, a couple issues. And then that's it. Now, supposedly there are issues much later on in which he's turned back by other people temporarily. But essentially, Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man 3 is where it ended, and they're just sort of using him for little plot devices here and there. And that's it. This went a lot longer than I expected, but that is all the appearances of Man Wolf, at least in the Bronze Age, and this one in the Copper Age. And again, the next one came like in 2006 or 7, so way back here into the modern age. So that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. A little longer than I wanted, but oh well, that's me. I hope this didn't get too boring for anybody. All right, everybody. Thanks again for your support. And I really do appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. I know that this is a week away, but my next one will be a short, and I probably won't be able to get too much into that. So everybody, be blessed, be kind to each other, and be back.